Thanks for watching another episode of LBEB Kitchen. I'm your host, Inspector Deck. Today we're going to make one of my favorite breakfasts. It's called a full English. Fair warning, I've never actually had this in England. I've had it in Australia, Peru, Tasmania, which is still Australia, Hong Kong, and Canada, but never actually in England itself. So pretty much if you're going to be in a country that was an ex-British colony or something like that, these should be pretty common, but you can find them at British themed restaurants in the US as well. So along with that fair warning, there are a lot of ways to make this. I don't want to offend any British folk by not making it the exact way they make it, but I've had a few different variations, and this is the most common one that I've liked repeatedly. So what I like about it is just the sheer variety of stuff that's on the plate. I first saw it in a movie called Green Street Hooligans, where they eat it to cure their hangover, which of course doesn't cure it, but I can't really think of anything I'd want to eat more than a bunch of greasy breakfast food and tomatoes. My favorite parts about it is the acidity of the tomatoes with the grease and the salt and the fat and the meat and the eggs. So I just think it's kind of an odd looking combination of everything together, especially with the barbecue baked beans, but it's a very nice selection of stuff that goes well together. So here's what you'll need. So this isn't going to be too time consuming. What I consider a little time consuming is making sure all the ingredients are done at the exact same time. I'm a little anal about that with cooking. So what I got here is a piece of sourdough, 2 pieces of sausage. I chose Vermont maple, so it's not exactly English, but the sweetness of that sausage is going to go really well with the saltiness of the bacon. Same with the baked beans. So, can of baked beans, 1 tomato, pretty ripe, almost too ripe, but not quite. A hash brown patty, 2 eggs, and 2 pieces of thick cut bacon. So if we're going for maximum time efficiency, which is what I like, the biggest result with the least amount of effort, that's a great way to approach life. We're going to take the bacon, put it in the pan first, separate these. Now the full Englishes I've had, the bacon is never cooked in a flat strip like it is in the US. So I'm just going to lay these curled up on either side. I'm going to take the sausage, put it on the top and the bottom. I'm going to stash the hash brown patty, which I'll remove earlier than the meats from the pan. And finally, what I consider to be a pretty important part is I'm going to take some pepper. I'm going to create a little pepper nest for these tomatoes. I've cut them in half. I'm going to put them face down, and some of the grease from the meat is going to come up under the under the tomatoes, and it's going to help cook it just from one side. So I'm going to leave that face down the entire time. I'm going to just turn my pan on to medium, and I'm going to let it do its thing for about 8 minutes or until everything is finished. This will be another great instance where it's going to be advisable to use a splatter screen. Coincidentally, if you're part of the splatter screen business, I'm currently searching for splatter screen sponsors. So earlier I mentioned that there's a lot of variations of this, and I think the most out there variation I had was when we were in Tasmania for the seminar, and one of the options for the full English was to add, you're basically adding a half a can of SpaghettiOs. And of course I did, and it was good. I don't think I'd do it again, but it was pretty good at the time. So lots of variations. Not sure I'd recommend that one, but if you're adventurous, you'll probably give it a try. Okay, well this stuff is just about done. So once this stuff is about to be finished, it would be a good time to microwave those baked beans. Just put them on a plate, microwave them for about 45 seconds. I used about 1/3 of a can for this video. So earlier I talked about leaving the tomatoes face down to get a nice char, and that is what I'm looking for. Fully cooked on one end, but not too much of the juices escaped out of the other end. So keep your juices in one end, folks. Okay, well last but definitely not least, we've got the eggs. So we're going to do it the LBEB way. Just crack them on the pan. Duh. Now you're not going to want to leave them uncovered because I want the top to be slightly cooked, but I want those yolks runny. I want the yolk on the rest of the food. So put a lid on the pan. Turn this to about a 3 for 2.5 minutes. Also a good time to start your toast. I use sourdough, goes really well, so I'd recommend sourdough for you. Alrighty, well the gang's all here, so now all we need are the perfectly done eggs. You want to talk about a breakfast you can get big with, this would be it. This took me 8 minutes to make total. I've got a system down, so I would copy my system if you're in a hurry to make it, but you will not be disappointed when you eat it. Alright guys, well thanks for watching LBEB Kitchen. This is the full English. It's one of my favorite breakfasts and I think you'll really enjoy it. God save the Queen, and I'll see you next time.